Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, trader Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our trading room recording on Monday, the 2nd of August 2021. Markets dropped a little bit on Friday, which was disappointing because it was really close to breaking even for the month. So we ended up 1.2% down for the month. There you go. It was a lot worse at one point, but we really worked hard to recover it, and we had a few days where the market recovered as well. So it's always a combination of both luck and the setup that you have in your actual account. So there you go. We're into August. Let's hope we can get some green in the screen this month and get our annual total moving on towards that 20% target we have for the year. Right, let's just look at the economic calendar for today first, and then we'll go 7 days just so we know what we've got to look forward to through the week. And I've gone down to medium importance here. And the reason being is that there was some numbers come out of the UK market. CIPS manufacturing PMI come in at 60.4 as forecast, which are quite good numbers. They were talking about them in Bloomberg. That's the reason why I've gone down to find them. But on the high importance level, we've got the market manufacturing PMI in the United States, forecast for 63.1, and then ISM manufacturing forecast at 60.9. So we'll have to see how those come in later today. Not entirely sure. I still fancy shorting the dollar for a while. I don't know if the markets, if those numbers come in nice, I don't even know if the market would react to it. You're really watching to see what the Fed's going to do. But obviously, if these numbers come in strong, it might, make the market believe that the Fed's going to move sooner rather than later. But when we go back to what Powell said last week, he said, listen, things are running hot. We're looking at it on a year-by-year basis, not a month-by-month basis, and we don't believe the growth and the inflation that's happening at the minute will continue into next year and the year after, and therefore our interest rate decisions will be based on what we believe is the underlying situation. In other words, we're rebounding from the pandemic, the lockdown, the shutdown of the world economy. And we are going to get fluctuation, but we're not going to react to it. So let's see if the market continues to believe that the Fed will do what they said they do. So far, technically, I'm getting it right on DXY. Been a bit of a slog. It took longer to start to move down than I thought. But nonetheless, it is moving short, and we'll talk about that in a moment when we go over to the charts. Let's bring us back to high importance, because there's too much on the medium level, guys. So we're looking at the 3rd. It's tomorrow. Interest rate decision in Australia, employment change and unemployment in New Zealand. So there might be some movement there. As I've said in the past, guys, I do like trading the Aussie New Zealand, but at the moment I don't have an angle on it. I don't have a handle on it. So I'm kind of leaving it alone. What I tend to do is wait till it gets to one extreme or the other, and then trade it back up into that or down. August, Bank of England interest rate decision. The pound is moving long against the dollar at the moment. Obviously, there was some nice movement long in the pound during the week last week. Mainly, I think, due to the fact that the Delta variant, COVID variant numbers, although still high, were dropping. They weren't getting higher, which could be an indication that, it's not going to be the disaster that the markets had been worried about. We'll have to see still, guys. There's still people dying, but not in anywhere near the numbers that were dying this time last year, basically because of not all, but a very high percentage of people are vaccinated, and it seems to be stopping the hospitalizations, which is good for the United States because they're in a similar situation with Delta growing over there, but the similar levels of vaccination. So the markets are keeping an eye on that. Not necessarily from a point of view of trading the UK markets, but for what might happen in the US. Balance of trade in Canada. Reserve Bank of Australia statement monetary policy. So that comes out on the 6th, even though the interest rate decision is on the 3rd. So maybe nothing happens there, and then on the 6th we get this. Now for me, it happens in the middle of the night for me, guys, so I never catch any of these. Not that they're necessarily a good idea to try and trade the news, guys, but some people do like to try and trade it. And then on the 6th as well, which is going to be 4 days' time, which will be, it'll be Friday because there's non-farm payrolls, guys. Statement monetary policy, employment change, unemployment in Canada, and then this is probably the biggest news of the week will be the non-farm payrolls, guys. Forecast 900,000. Let's see how it comes in. Because yet again, this will indicate how close the Fed are to start to tighten their monetary policy, guys. Okay, their monetary policy. So that's that. Quick look at Flipboard. I know I don't look at it every day, but there's quite a lot of information here at the moment. Now, there's a big movement out there at the moment. If we go over to the China, we talked about this over the last month or so. When it dropped like that and was going through this, I drew that, guys. Remember, basically just copied that. Equality, Elliott wave theory, looking for another leg down. They don't always happen, but when they happen, you have a completed zigzag. Now the thing is, obviously a completed zigzag can turn into a 5-wave down. So there is always a little bit of ambiguity with Elliott, which is the reason why we always look at the fundamentals. But for me, it's come into this level here. Not that I trade levels, guys, support and I just don't believe in it because it bashes through them all the time. So, but it is just another little thing to bring in that it's come down into that level. So that'd be a good place to look for support, as they say. And last week I drew this. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to do that, guys. It just means that's the direction that I think prices will move from this level. And of course, it could, it could move up something like that. We don't know how it would move, but I do believe that it will go long from here. Now, there's still a lot of doubts out there about what's going on between China and the US and about Chinese companies that, well, it's that, and it's the Chinese government itself has put regulatory impose regulations on certain sectors of the Chinese market, which obviously capitalism doesn't like that because it creates a big unknown. It's kind of like, well, what's next? Are you going to put those same restrictions on IT, or are you going to put it on what different sectors? So that's when the market gets frightened. Then you get this sort of thing. Now, what it does is it creates a situation with us where we go, these companies back over here were worth whatever what the market said they were worth. So are we now getting them 25% cheaper? That 61 there's just a measure of the last impulse up, guys. So it's come down into the 61%. It's a 61% retracement of that last impulse up. Obviously, it's not 61% of the whole market, but I think it's still quite a significant move down. And if you compare it with that move or that move, it's thereabouts. Does that mean that there isn't, more downside to it? Well, I can't say that. But what I have done is I've gone, I spent the weekend. Now, I did say I was going to do a couple of recordings, but I got involved in other stuff, guys, and it was more important to me. We will get the little recordings done about individual stocks. But when I was doing the prep for those, I realized there was something going on out there among a lot of retail traders, which was they're seeing these stocks as cheap or fair valued compared to what they were. And is this now a buying opportunity? Which for me, I think it is. But I've just listened to a so-called expert on, I say so-called not because I disrespect him, but because there's so many people come on Bloomberg and say one thing, and then the next expert says, well, I agree with a bit of that, but I don't agree with that. And the next expert says, no, I don't agree with any of it. So, you have to take it in the round, as it were. Take all the bits of information and then make your own decision as to what you think is going to happen, or what I think is going to happen in my case. So there was someone expert on, and they were saying that they didn't think buying the dip at this point was a good idea because the headwinds are still there, the threats are still there. So I don't know if this is a good place to buy or not, but I'm buying. And as I've been saying over the last lot of weeks and months, that I've bought Baidu. I'll keep adding to the position. And I do think Baidu will come back up. There's a lot of recent information out there about Baidu, and a lot of agreement among retail traders saying this is a good company. Its price is down where would be good value as well. That doesn't mean it can't continue to drop, but it means if you hold on to it long enough, in other words, Baidu, we're talking about this in Baidu, if you hold on to it long enough, it'll come back up again. And obviously, we would like it to go long from here. So that's Baidu. Then Tencent was mentioned. Alibaba was mentioned. All of them at a discounted price to what it was 2 or 3 months ago, guys. So I've decided to go for it, and we'll look at the account in a moment. But let's just look at some of this first. Futures rise, Tesla's rival sales soar, Square makes big D. Now, I like Square, guys, but I don't like the chart at the moment. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Let's see what else they're talking about. Tesla's rivals here. I think it's NIO, which I'm in as well. Square, yeah, NIO. Li Auto. No, I don't know anything about Li Auto, so I'm not recommending that at the moment. And Xpeng, I don't know. And what is that? Is that BYD? Can't remember what BYD is, guys. It's not Beyond Meat, is it? No, that's still don't know what it is. Anyway, let's not waste our time on that, guys. So that story's there for you. Have a read at if you so wish. About 99.999% of fully vaccinated Americans have not had a deadly COVID-19 breakthrough case. So if any of you aren't vaccinated, guys, what more numbers do you want? Goldman Sachs picks new stocks to buy from tech to health. Some with over 100% potential upside, but that's just to get you to read the article, guys. Oh, can't see it. They only allow you so many a month, guys. Square, now Robinhood had an IPO last week, and it was disappointing. So does that mean it's cheap? I don't know. Let's keep an eye on it. Square, Robinhood, AMD, GameStop, Alibaba, AMC. Here's what Wall Street Bets is talking about heading into the new week. What stablecoin, for anybody that doesn't know? 3 underrated Warren Buffett stocks that are smart buys right now. This is from the Motley Fool. Always a good place to start, and then you've got to still do your work, guys. And just keep saying, I will do this for us. But don't be buying a stock unless you know what you're buying. Now, the 3 stocks, AbbVie, I recommended AbbVie months ago, and I've been in and out of it. And the way the chart is at the minute, I don't want to buy into the game. If there's a dip on it, certainly I'll buy it. Stoneco, I don't know what they are. And Verizon, I have traded that in the past. Can't remember how I did on it, guys, but I know I have traded it. So that's the only stories of not flipping as many as I used to, guys. Okay, right. So where are we? Oh, let's have a quick look at the account and then we'll get on to the charts. Yeah, we ended up 1.21% down for the month, which is okay. I mean, obviously we're not trying to lose money, guys, but it was a bad month and we did kind of rescue it. And then so far we're up 0.2%, 10% so far. So I still feel we're on track for 20% for the year, guys. And remember, the year doesn't. 2021 ends there, but we're continually trading. So you could take your year from there or there. So if it gets knocked back here a little bit, we'll continue trading to try and hit that 20% annual average turnover, guys. And then portfolio, just 10 cent I bought into, 1.84%. Last week I bought Airbnb, Amazon after it dropped when they brought out their beat. For some reason they were sold off. Maybe they thought they were going to earn even more money, but I thought, well, I do like Amazon. Blue chip, IT company, retail. So I just got into it, guys. RBA, I think will come right. Baidu, as you know, 4.33% in it. I don't know exactly when Baidu's going to go through the roof, guys, but it will eventually. It's Google Plus of China with a massive market, guys. So, you know, Corsair, unfortunately, Corsair's still languishing, but yet again, very cheap compared to what it had been, and I do think it'll come up again. The gold stocks did a little bit last week for it and came up a little bit off their bottoms. So it's still there. It's their insurance policy. There's NIO. NIU is battering me at the minute, but I do think they'll come up. I'm not worried about them. Got into a little bit of physical gold. Plug. I've done really well with Plug over the last year or so, or 7-8 months, should I say. They drop like a stone, and then they go up like a rocket, and then they drop like a stone. So it is a little bit of a gamble, but physical silver, Peloton, first time I've ever bought Peloton, guys, but it had dropped off that much. I thought, well, you'll get your money back at some stage, at least, and maybe you'll get a nice profit out of it. Rio Tinto's coming back up. London, it's moved up this morning. That's Rio in London. That's Rio in NASDAQ. So it's breaking even in London. So I imagine we'll get a move up on this today as well. And then we've got SLV ETF, Teladoc, which is another one that I really believe in. Dollar 2.75%, USD SEK 0.52%. Annoyed with this, guys, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been running a rule for the last easy 7-8 months, 9 months, maybe even, where if I get 5% to take it, or at least move my stop to protect the 5%. If it suddenly goes up to 7, 8, 9%, or sometimes 20%, I take it, right? Last week, Thursday, I had over 5% in both of these, and I didn't take it, and they came back up. That one was stopped out for a 0, so I got back into it again. And this one came almost back up to 0, and that's 2.73%. If it had taken my 5% last week, I could have sold them again this week and still had this on top of the 5%. So when you break your rules, guys, things like this happen. And Whitbread has now finally, after months of owning it, we're finally in the green with it, guys. Okay, so what? And then I've got a couple of orders on. Alibaba. Can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, we'll talk about it tomorrow when it comes through. Right. So I'm happy enough with that. Now, guys, things are still really overpriced, and we will get a correction at some point. But you can't sit in your hand waiting for it, or you'll never trade. So we are still exposed, as everybody else is, and I'll continue to take small profits in the hope that I can lock some profits in. So when we get the drawdown, we're drawing down the money we've locked in, and not our own money that we've invested. Okay, what's next? Charts. Let's run through the charts. So, quick look at the yen. Still hanging about there. Could be a little running flat, guys. Let's see if it drops. We did say the other day that the Swiss would move long. This is on a daily time scale here, by the way. Let's take it down to about 4 hours. We said it would move long because the gold price had been edging up because the dollar had been dropping probably. NASDAQ, listen, it could push on up here, guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ran flat. If it runs flat, then we're going to have good days and bad days over the next lot of weeks. So hopefully we don't. Hopefully it pushes on up and we can get a few more percent into the piggy bank. Dow Jones, still in this. Let's see if it breaks out. I suspect it will continue to run flat. S&P put in a new all-time high last week. And the Japanese is still, or the Nikkei is still in this correction, but I do think it will break out of it. And there's a nice move up in the UK today after those PMI figures. As we were saying last week, because we draw something like that doesn't mean it will happen, guys. It just means that if it drops, then there's a nice trade back up. French, still up there, still pushing on up. So I think we're certainly in the green on the UK. Dow futures are up. Oh, flashed. FTSE's up, CAC's up, DAX up. Stocks is up. I don't know which one that is, guys. So Europe's up. So hopefully America will open up as well. So we have a nice day today. German, the DAX, sorry. Yeah, they said there it's up, but it doesn't really look up there, does it? Well, it's certainly not down anyway. Might have been up just a few basis points, guys. Chinese is up overnight. I'm hoping that this, now, guys, there's no guarantee it's going to go long from here, but, you know, with a completed zigzag, it'll at least run flat from here for a while, won't it? Hang Seng, nice little rebound. I think it was Friday we got a little rebound there. And I'm hoping it continues on up. The Aussie, nice breakout. The Russell, still in this correction it's been in all year, but it's moving off the bottom. DXY, we're continuing our path down, I hope. Of course, it could end up giving us a bit more here before it goes, but I suspect it's going to continue down into this sort of area here to give us this running flat that we talked about from a way back over here, guys. Now, obviously, we didn't know back then what it would look like, but as I said, listen, it's going to be a corrective structure. At one point, we kind of said, well, it might do something like that, and then, you know, whatever, but it certainly wasn't going to do that, and we didn't expect it to do that. So, okay so far. Now, just at this point, I want to just quickly go and look at the 3 charts that I've posted over the last lot of months. Now, I used to post charts every day, guys, but it's just a clickbait thing. It's just, and I can't stand it, you know. But anyway, there you go. But the 3 I have posted, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, that's a beauty. This one, and I wanted to explain this because this thing doesn't stop. You know, what I was trying to indicate was from there, it'll drop, give you a zigzag, see it? And then it'll go long from there, which it did. That didn't get to the top, but we had 2 or 3 weeks in there to determine whether we were going to continue to trade it up or talk about it every day. But drop, back up, and then another leg down. Now, if we go and look at the actual chart, no, let's not look at the chart. I want to look at this one first. And then the latest one is the DXY short. And yet again, it didn't happen exactly where you know, I was hoping it would happen, but it did come in. So it shows you need patience and you need to give it room. Time and space is what you need to give instruments, guys. If you don't give them enough space or you don't give them enough time, then you're going to constantly be getting stopped out or giving up on trades, guys. Time and space is what they need. Okay, so 3 charts, and I think 3 successes. Just back to that Euro USD chart, and there's it there, guys. That's the place that we put the where is it? What time scale was that on? Was that it there? Oh, there's it. Oh, it's 1 hour. Right, so I'll have to take us to 1 hour to find it. Would have been here somewhere. For goodness sake, do you see these things? You know, that should just stand out. It should be blatantly obvious. You always battle with these on TradingView. Anyway, so there's the zigzag. That's the completion of the zigzag. This is where I posted the chart. I can't see it there anywhere, guys. It's there somewhere. And then we got the move back up, which I was hoping would give us a double top. And of course, if you get a double top in ABC, A, B, you'll get a C. So we got an A, a B, which didn't come to the top, and then we got an impulsive C wave down, guys. So Elliott works. It doesn't work all of the time, but it does work enough for anyone who's paying attention and doing the work to pick up on the buy opportunities, or say trade opportunities, should I say. So that was a nice correction down, and then with the move back up, guys, and now then we were on the way down again, and now I think we're on our way up, back up again. And of course, this chart doesn't look exactly the same as DXY, because there's more to DXY than just the euro. But nonetheless, you can see from there, it's running flat. And when we were back here, I would have been doing this. This is going to run flat. Pound. Continue to move up nicely in the direction that we said it would go. Now, if you've traded it from back down here, remember this is a 4-hour time scale, guys. If you've traded it from the back down here, you'll have had a nice trade out of that, guys. As I say, I don't bother with pips, but let's just say we did 349 pips, 350 pips. That's a nice trade, guys. Aussie, looking for the breakout to go long. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. New Zealand, same thing, looking for the breakout to go long. Of course, this all is determined by the dollar continuing to go short. But if you look at that, you can see those weren't the best trades. That's not really gone anywhere, and that's not really gone anywhere. Pounds moved nicely, and then you'll find that the Swedish kronas moved nicely down there, guys, on this 4-hour time scale. So I'm looking for more downside to this, obviously. CAD, yeah. Let's see if we get more downside to this. Yen, not so sure about the yen, guys. Because I'm actually looking for a drop off in the yen, which would make it difficult for it to go long there. So I would leave that one alone. Swiss, probably long. Oh, short, sorry. That side of the equation, short. Gold. It's come off this morning. But nonetheless, if you go into this in a higher time scale, guys, I think there's upside to gold, but it doesn't mean it's happening today or next week, guys. What I'm saying is that on a daily, weekly time scale, eventually gold will go long. And silver will do the same thing. So I'm looking for silver to go up. Bitcoin, just while we're here, had a nice move over the weekend. It's come off a little bit this morning, but it could well be on its way up. You see that structure there, guys? We give it an impulse down, and then you get something like that, and then eventually it breaks out. That is a similar structure to, what was I looking at? Was it Baidu? Yeah, see it? Impulse down, and then this. Now, there is a danger that it's a running flat, guys, and it drops out again. But often you'll get this, where you've got a correction, then it starts to slow down, and then it starts to climb again. So this is one of the things that I hope Baidu's going to come along. And you'll see that correction in a few of those Chinese, what was the other one I talked about? Baba. Where's Baba? Just while we're here, I know that's a bit of a diversion, guys. It's not quite the same structure, but look at the correction, guys. It's a nice zigzag there. Is it about to start going long? It's come down into this sort of area here. Not to say that I trade levels, but nonetheless, it's come down enough to get back into the last level of correction, or a support, if you want to call it that. Where were we? Bitcoin, ETH, I put in, it moved even better over the weekend. Now, I did buy some ETH, I think it was back down here somewhere, so I'm doing all right with it. Let's hope that it continues. Of course, if you look at this, you certainly wouldn't bet against it, doing something like this for a while before starting to come back up. So if it dips again, I'll not be selling it and closing it, guys. I'll just add to the position if it dips again. And obviously, I'd love it to do that, but there's no guarantees of those things. Oil, as we've been saying, it's up here. It'll stay up here. Nothing more to say about that. EuroCAD. Yeah, don't know about that. EUROAUS. If the dollar continues to drop, then this potentially could go up, but I wouldn't trade it from there, as I've been saying, guys. You need the setup. You need it to drop and then take it long. Euro New Zealand, it's not going anywhere. Euro Yen, no. Oh, yeah, maybe long, provided the dollar continues to drop. Euro Swiss, don't be touching it. Look, that's what we drew last week, guys. And we said if the gold price continues to strengthen, regardless of what's happening with the euro, this will continue to fall, and that's what it's doing. So I wouldn't try and trade that long. Pound CAD, no. Pound Oz, well, yet again, it's nice, guys, but you're going to need a setup for it. Pound New Zealand, remember, we're on a 4-hour time scale here. Oh, come on. I don't know why that alarm's gone off. Can it break out long? Well, possibly it can, but you got to go on what's here, guys. It's a big channel. It's a big correction. So if it drops again, you can always try that. If it takes off from there, if you're already in it, fantastic. But am I going to jump into it there? No, I'm not. If it gets down to there, maybe you trade it up. Remember, there's thousands of things to trade, guys, so don't be trading anything that's doubtful. What are we looking at here? Pound Swiss. Well, it's the same as with the euro. We were looking for a wee correction. We've have a wee correction. Would I now trade that long? No, not with the Swiss at the minute, because of what's happening with the gold price. If the gold price continues to go long, then the Swiss is going to continue to strengthen. Pound euro. Never liked trading it. Pound yen, possibly. But as you see there, I was looking for a bit more of a drawdown for a setup. Aussie yen, that's possibly that might be worth trying to trade long from there, folks. New Zealand yen, no, Aussie New Zealand. Looks like a nice zigzag, guys, which should finish. Maybe it gives us a push back up. I do like trading this pair. I'll keep an eye on it, guys. If it starts to come up, maybe I'll buy it. Aussie CAD, Swiss. Yet again, there's the strengthening of the Swiss pulling that down. At some point, if the Swiss starts to weaken, if the gold price starts to drop off, then you could well see that move up. But not yet, guys. Aussie CAD. Nice little zigzag. Although, to be quite honest, I thought the zigzag was done there. And I didn't trade it long because I don't like trading against the CAD. Not with the oil price where it is at the minute. But I also didn't have enough confidence to trade it the other way, so I'm just leaving it alone. But if you look at the structure overall, if it's going to keep dropping, you would have to wait for it to come back over like that and then trade it down again. I'm not convinced it's going to do that, but if it gave us something like that, say drop back, drop back, drop back, those things can run forever, guys. The one I remember trading a few years ago was the Aussie, I think it was the Aussie USD. I'll have to back out into the daily. Show you what I'm talking about. See that one there, guys? This was, 2018 through. Remember, this is a daily time scale. So it just kept coming down, then dropping, giving us corrections and dropping, giving us a correction and dropping, giving us a correction and dropping. And I remember trading that and talking about that at length at the time because everybody was trying to trade it long. And I remember really making a big deal about that and saying, guys, don't be trying to trade this long. At least don't trade it, but certainly don't trade it long. And if you don't believe it's going to go short, then just leave it alone. But I called it short, and look at it did. Now, I didn't call it short that it was going to do that. I just basically said there's going to be another leg down on it, guys. You keep your emotions in check. Don't be bombastic and don't tell lies. I know, I can't remember specifically, but I know the way I think, and I would have said another leg down, maybe down into there. Now, the fact that it did that, if you happened to be in it, would have been fantastic. So I'm kind of thinking, is that what we're getting in the Aussie CAD? Is there a similar channel moving down there? Of course, you could always do something like that and say, well, you're near enough a 50% retracement, depending on where you draw this to. I don't like drawing these into those flash crashes, guys. Even though we're on a daily time scale here, that probably only lasted a few minutes. Let's go down into the 4 hours and see if it's still there. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more solid there. Bring it into there. So we're approaching 50% retracement. Well, it could well be another move down, say, to 61. But you need a setup to get into it. Swiss yen. Yeah, I think that's going to go long, guys. Let's get down to the 1 hour. See, there is a temptation with that to go, well, it's a flat correction, it's going to drop again. And ordinarily, well, I would say it anyway, listen, unless that gives you a setup, you can't just jump into it there. You would need that. But I suspect it's not going to give us that. I suspect it's going to push on up. But you've got to trade these things consistently, guys. You can't just go on gut feel, because you're going to get it wrong more often than you get it right. But so this gave us a setup. I might be quite keen to trade it there. But the other side of it is this, is that if we take this out on the higher time scale, we had a very similar structure on the daily or weekly time scale. It was this, see this? And then when it was coming up here, initially I had this running over to here. I said, well, it's in a flat correction, it'll drop. And we spent a lot, oh, maybe it was here, spent a lot of time here trying to trade this down. At that time, we did in fact channel in, guys. And eventually I started thinking, when it broke out, I went, oh, leave that alone. That's not coming down again. And we put that channel in. And I said to ourselves, right, well, there's your flat correction back over to there. Maybe some sort of A, B, and that's a C, and then off it goes again. So you're back into an impulsive move here. It's in a channel, like, but I mean, when I say impulsive, it's maybe a diagonal or something. So it's certainly possible for this to push back up and give us a double top there, guys. I don't know if I'm going to trade it or not, but I'm certainly keeping an eye on it. As I say, if it gave us a correction here, I might well try and trade it long. CAD Swiss, my old pal, waiting for a breakout on this. But yet again, because of what's going on with gold at the minute, a little bit reluctant to trade the Swiss short. So CAD Yen is possibly the better trade, guys. New Zealand Yen, maybe it breaks out. New Zealand CAD, no, I'll not be touching that one. And New Zealand Swiss, not be touching that one just yet either. Unless the gold price starts to drop, and then this will come up. Okay, guys, that'll do it for today. I'll speak to you all again tomorrow. If you're new, remember to subscribe and like. Apparently that's what you got to say. Anyway, see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now. Oh, I put another little training video out over the weekend.